Now this, political turmoil, it seems to have stalled President Trump's legislative agenda. That it means trouble for tax cuts. Joining us now, David Smick, former senior Hill staffer and author of the book, The Great Equalizer. David, I want to talk to you about the 1986 tax cut. That was revolutionary. You were in the room during the negotiations, and it was really tense stuff. I think it's a repeat this time around. Are we going to get a tax cut deal?
I think so, and I actually think this time around is a chip shot compared to 1986. If you look back at the history of that, the Democrats controlled the House, Republicans controlled the Senate, and there were inter-party rivalries. And for 2 years, tax reform was declared dead. I mean, it was the one certainty of Washington: you'll never get tax reform. Well, we got it through, but it was very tough. But look at the difference today. Republicans control both houses of Congress. They've got a president with, 30 to 50 million social media advocates that he can turn on, people who are against tax reform. So they have no excuse.
But the Republicans are split. And I'm sure they were split in 1986. But you're saying you can get over the split. This time around, you can get over the split.
Yeah, they were beyond split. The key thing is to get a bill to the floor, because particularly Republicans, it's very hard to vote against a tax package that has corporate incentives but also has a middle-class tax cut. Nobody wants to vote against it. They may try to stop it from getting to the floor with a lot of backroom maneuvering and all the rest, but they don't want to vote to it. And once we got it to the floor, we, in 1986, it was not a problem because, to put it in a frank sense, if you are a senator up for re-election, do you really want an opponent, particularly a primary opponent, saying, our senator thinks you're undertaxed. Our senator thinks the government needs more of your money. They don't want to vote that out in the open. And so that's why once you get it to the floor, this thing has a much greater chance of passage. The big question to me is Donald Trump. He reminds me of kind of a Tom Brady. Now, when Tom Brady is in the pocket, concentrating on that receiver, getting that long pass for the touchdown, the Patriots win. When Brady is constantly looking over his shoulder at the linebackers and the safeties, who are the press and the Democratic Party, and Trump becomes preoccupied, things don't go well. And so it's a simple analogy, but the president's got to pull away from some of this controversy and say, okay, I'm going to be judged. Do I get tax reform through? History will say I'm a success and not a success, not based on my tweets, but based on whether I get this accomplished. And he can get it accomplished, but he's got to be fixated on it.
Call it, David. Will we get a tax bill signed, delivered and signed, before Congress goes on its recess in August?
I think you'll get it through the House. I think by the end of the year they will get it, primarily for this reason. Republicans and Donald Trump have promised 3 to 4% growth. If they don't deliver, and I think the half of the country is saying we're not bothered by this political noise. Yeah, it could be upsetting. All we care about is results. But if they don't deliver, I'm telling you, God help them.
Yeah,
so that's why I think in the end they're going to have to make this happen. They've got to stop worrying about a lot of the headlines seem to be written by reporters who've never experienced a legislative fight. And there hasn't been a tax legislative fight for 30 years. But so they see a couple senators who say, I'm not going to vote for this or that. That's noise. The end of the game, it's can you get the bill to the floor? And when that happens, the bill is enacted.
David Smick, the voice of reality. We like that. Thanks for joining us, David. We'll see you again real soon.
Great to be with you.
Yes, sir.